Hey everybody, how are you? Good to see you. I thought I would go live. I haven't been live in a while, and I felt inspired by some stuff, and thought I would share. So, if you don't know me, if you're new to what I do, I'm a psychotherapist. I work in the wilderness of Oregon and Utah, and I am an essential oil educator and trained as a holistic health coach and yeah, yeah, and I teach yoga, but I'm on a bit of a sabbatical there. So if you where let me know where you're joining from and what you'd like to know, if anything. So I'm getting ready to leave to go to Hawaii tomorrow, and I got new glasses, so I'm pumped about that. And I wanted to just briefly, no, maybe kind of briefly, this is a couple big topics that I've promised you here, but wanted to talk about change. And I just got off the phone with somebody that in this time in my life is challenging for me. And this person means well and has contributed a lot to my own growth and well-being, and me really having to look at myself. And I share that with you because I want you to know that I'm always doing this work, and that's why I'm sharing it, because I feel like it's important for myself, if I'm working with people, to be doing the work myself and to be sharing from that experience. And so I've been going through a lot of change in my life recently, mostly in various areas. So in the therapy world, we say that there are four pillars that kind of hold us together, and those are relationships, our primary relationships, our health and our body, the state of our body, our home environment, and finances, job, money, and feeling stable that way. So if any of these pillars go out of alignment, we can feel really unsteady and really unstable. So in the past 4 months, I have had all four of those kind of go out of whack: relationship, health, home, and money, and have lots of change in those areas. And so it's been a challenge to notice and show up to the opportunity to notice what it's like to be with that. And what can happen is, if we're not stable enough inside of ourselves, if we don't have enough internal stability and ways of navigating that kind of change, significant change, then we can almost feel like we're going psychotic. It can lead even to psychotic breaks. So it's a really serious thing, and depending on how we manage change, can it really impact how we see ourselves and view ourselves and manage our lives. So one of the oils that I'm using for that is a blend called Balance. It's called the Grounding Blend. So if you're in a time of change, let me know. Comment below, whether you're watching live or after the fact. But let me know, if you can just drop like a 1, I'm going through a lot of change, or 0 means I'm good. I'm riding the waves, right? So this oil, what I like to do with it is I'll put a couple of drops in my hands, rub my hands together, breathe it in. And place some of the excess on the back of my neck, behind my ears, bottoms of my feet, and go about it that way. So that really helps anchor you in. And what the oils are doing is it's triggering a place in your brain that, it goes straight back to your olfactory bulb, the place where you smell things, the place in your brain that smells things. And it bypasses all the cognitive areas. So you can't really even think about it. You're just taking it in, and it will have a big impact on your brain without having to worry about it or think about it too much. Okay, so you don't have to be like, I'm going to de-stress. It just kind of does it for you. And then what you can do if you're in this time of change, or any time of a lot of change, is when you're feeling calm, in those moments of feeling calm, it's important to notice them when you are feeling calm, right? So we're talking about change. And if you are it's important to notice those moments where you feel safe and secure and steady. Because then you can use your oils and link the scent with this feeling of feeling safe. And this is something I've noticed in my life that I've done a lot in my relationships is in our amygdala, the fight, flight, freeze place in our brain, we will either create maps of danger or maps of safety, and we will find experiences that support either one of those. So for me in my life, I have found that I have created a lot of danger maps in my own amygdala and my own brain. And then I will look for situations that would make me feel unsafe to confirm my subconscious belief that the world is not safe. So if that's you, this is really important because this will impact every area of your life, including especially your primary relationships, right? So if that's you, let me know. I would love to know and hear from you and see if that resonates for you at all. Like, do you kind of create more drama than you need to, or do you tend to have trouble with trust or trouble with having faith in relationships? Do you have negative beliefs about relationships? Let me know. I want to hear from you and see what your experience is like. And you can privately message me if that feels better for you. Or if you want to help everybody else, you can comment and write your question below or let us know what's going on for you there. So if that describes you, or if you tend to notice, even if you're just feeling stressed, a lot of times we use this word as like a blanket statement for a lot of things that could be going on. But usually the word that most people have in their mind is that they're stressed, right? So it's not super specific. So I use that because it's a tag word that a lot of people resonate with. But if you can notice what is going on for you in that moment of stress, can you get a little deeper, pause, breathe, take a moment, and figure out what is going on? Is there a thought that is contributing to this feeling of stress, right? And so, for instance, when I'm feeling challenged right now in my life, like I've really been looking a lot at the ways in which I may not be as healthy as I would like to be emotionally, mentally. Right? We all have pockets of this inside of ourselves. It's just a matter of if we're willing to look at it, that will determine what we do with it, right? Because we can just let these things sit there and sort of rot, and like those places inside of ourselves that don't feel good, right? You can just let them sit there and be there without looking at them for your whole life, or you can take a look at them and start to work with them. And the thing that I like to say is, like, if we have a pattern of, say, stress or anxiety or negative thinking or depression or any way in which we don't feel our best, now life is full of those moments. I'm not saying that being happy is what we're going for all the time, but if you notice that that's like your kind of constant state, or you're having a hard time, when you slow things down, it's as if you're taking a film reel and you're expanding it out. So if we think about iMovie, if you've ever used iMovie, if you think about an old time movie reel, if we take it out, expand it, or an iMovie, if you go in, sometimes it starts off and it's this big and it's the whole thing, and you have to expand it out in order to be able to do anything with it. So when you're feeling that stress, there's usually some kind of thought or old pattern in your brain that's going off, that needs to be stopped. It needs to be paused, taken apart. So when we pause, that's like we're expanding the movie reel, and then you have the opportunity to work with that, right? If you have questions about this, please ask, and let me know where you're watching from too, if you're watching live or after the fact. So if we can stop in that moment where you're like, oh, this is my shit. This is my shit. This is my work. And usually when we're in a place of blame, we're like, that's their fault. That's also our work, right? And that's the hard part. Is it's so easy to blame and to sit behind a wall of blame. Hi, Lauren. Lauren's coming in from San Diego. So if we're behind, the blame is a really comfy place, right? So, and it's really hard sometimes because other people, nobody's perfect. And our work is to notice, hey, Stephanie, good to see you. Our work is to notice when we are blaming the other person. So going back to the movie reel, if we're stressed, anxious, whatever word you have for it, depressed, hi, Mandy. We have to slow it down. Okay, that's why I talk about meditation and mindfulness so much, because if you can just pause and be like, oh, I'm noticing I'm in that place again. I am in that place that I hate, that is so painful for me, right? Fill in the blank, whatever that place is for you. I mean, in the wilderness, working with adolescent girls right now, it looks like a lot of things and some pretty extreme behaviors, right? So, and that might not be the case for you, but it could just be like, I can't get anything done. I get cranky. I blame my husband. Whatever it is, fill in the blank. What is your thing? And then when you're noticing yourself, the biggest part is to notice, have compassion, pause, and then start to breathe. Start to breathe. Use your oils, right? I was talking about balance, for instance, as one example of a really nice grounding oil that can help pull you out of that pattern. Okay, so for me right now, feeling challenged in this interaction, this dynamic with this person that's really calling me, it's like the Gabby Bernstein calls it your assignment. Like if Earth and life is our classroom, people are our assignments. And we have to show up for those assignments in order to heal that. Otherwise, we just keep getting the same assignments. So we're going to repeat 8th grade over and over again if we don't show up for the assignments in 8th grade, right? Like hopefully they'll hold us back so we keep learning and we have to figure it out. So what I've noticed in myself as I do this work is that I will go, in the past, I've gone toward a place of blame, and I will get defensive, and I will not hold space for the other person to express what's going on for them. By holding space, I mean, I'm like this. I'm like, yeah. Yes, Spirit Junkie is a great book. I also love The Universe Has Your Back, Stephanie. If you haven't read that one, it's really good. That's my favorite. I'm like on the 4th time that I'm reading it. I will read Spirit Junkie too. But I'm like this, and I have my way of closing down, of shutting down when this person tries to show up with his truth. And I've done that for a while with him, to the point that it just wasn't working anymore. And that's my part. It's not like it was just me, but there was a lot going on that I couldn't manage. And I was in a place of constant stress, anxiety, and just like burnout. Okay, so what have I done? What did I do to turn this around? It looked like a lot of therapy and finding ways that I could interrupt the pattern interrupt. So if we are experiencing disappointment, we didn't get our way, any other negative feelings, beliefs, ways in which we don't want to feel. So if you're feeling those things and you're going like what I call the toilet bowl, you're going down into your cycle, you're taking you down the toilet bowl, and you better like plug it up and stop it, or you're going to suffer, right? And so part of working through how hard it can be is to pause. It's so important. And then find your breath and interrupt the pattern. Okay, because what's going on is again that movie reel of some shitty old belief that's not serving you anymore, most likely. right? So you have to, what do you need to do to take yourself out? You don't have to, it's not like, I'm not saying don't feel what it is. I'm saying get out, get into your body, go into nature, right? Something that I just posted about on Instagram was that there in essential oils, in forests, thick forests, there are lots of these chemical compounds called sesquiterpenes and monoterpenes. These chemical constituents are the constituents that occur in all essential oils, pretty much. So if you can't get to a forest, that's why essential oils can be so powerful, because it resets your brain. So when you're in that place of that crappy old belief, and you're in that place of suffering and negativity and depression, whatever it is, again, fill in the blank, you have to interrupt the pattern. Listen to something else that's healthier. So like for me, it's Gabby Bernstein right now. And the universe has your back. Like, I love that. I listened to an audiobook and I go for a walk, right? Also, movement is bilateral stimulation of your brain. It's integrating whatever emotional, overwhelming emotional experience you just had, helping you integrate it into both hemispheres of your brain. Trauma, hold on a second. Trauma, I just got pause here. Hold on a second. Okay. I don't know what's going on. Technical difficulties over here on Instagram. Okay, so, sorry guys. I don't know how to do this. Okay. Well, hopefully y'all can see me on Instagram. Okay, what was I saying? Okay. Well, so going back to pattern interrupt, right? We are working to pull ourselves out of that. So you have to find something else to replace the belief. So there's something that's causing you pain, causing you suffering. And when we're in that place, we need to interrupt the pattern again. So I'm sorry, I got distracted from somebody calling me. So that's what I highly recommend is, trauma, when we have some overwhelming experience, trauma can just be an overwhelming experience that we couldn't fully process. Okay. Oftentimes we think of trauma as like this big thing, like a war veteran. Okay. That's what we call big T trauma. There's lots of little T traumas that happen to all of us throughout our lives. And if we aren't aware of it, when we don't process it, then that gets lodged and stuck in our nervous system, and that's a problem. Okay. So we have to be able to slow down and look at ourselves and notice when we're in that place. Okay, so get out, move, use your oils, meditate, put on an audiobook where you are hearing beliefs that are healthier for you. If you're on Instagram and you're watching me live, would you just comment and let me know if you can see me or not? Thanks. I don't see myself. So pausing and going inside and noticing these things and being able to hold ourselves and listen to something else that is a healthier belief than whatever you've got going on in that moment. Okay. So, and this is hard work. In the moment, it feels impossible. You're probably not even going to remember it. Okay. Thanks, Sarah. Okay. So you're probably not even going to notice in the moment. You're going to be so in it. It's so consuming. If you're like me, if you're like this, where it gets so consuming for you, drop a 2 below, because that's helpful for me, right? I want to know, like, in the moment, we can be so triggered by these things that it's really hard. Stephanie, do you mean favorite YouTube channels or podcasts that help pull me out of that? Is that what you mean? Yeah, just something that's a better, healthier belief, right? Because you have to stop the movie reel. Otherwise, you're going to go down the toilet bowl of depression and all those things that you go, with all those places that we go, stress, anxiety, right? Okay. Let's see. YouTube channels or podcasts that help me with this. Life Coach School Podcast by Brooke Castillo. Haley Hobson's podcast. The Whole You, I think she calls it. Books by Gabby Bernstein. Deepak Chopra. Any yogic text, if it's written by a guru, I notice that those ancient texts, anything that resonates for you, it could be the Bible, it could be the Quran, it could be A Course in Miracles, right? It could be anything, but any spiritual text that you feel you resonate with, if at all, right? I find that when it's coming from somebody who is at a higher level of consciousness, that's what I want to tap into. Right, so follow the people that you really look up to. A Course in Miracles, Stephanie, is a spiritual text that's not super well known, I don't think, usually. So anytime you can pull yourself out of that. I like listening to stuff for sure. Abraham Hicks, people love Abraham Hicks. What else? I have to think. If you have others that you like and you're watching, please comment and let us know. Like, we all want to know, like, what pulls you out of these things? Who do you admire? Who do you respect? Anything by Tony Robbins. If you're in network marketing, I really like, oh my gosh, All Rise Up. And that's a podcast. And there was one other that I'm thinking of. Oh my gosh, I'm totally spacing. Anyway, I hope that helped. Oh, Gold Diggers, yes. Melissa Ambrosini, thank you. Stephanie, yes, I love both of them. Who else? Yeah, whatever resonates for you, right? There's a lot of stuff out there, but this is super helpful. Something also, and this is something that the owner of, so I work for a company called Evoke Therapy. So I'm a wilderness psychotherapist. I work with at-risk youth and adolescents in the wilderness of Oregon and Utah. And I have an essential oil business if you're joining later on. But something that Brad Reedy, who's one of the owners of Evoke, who is a brilliant man and has been in the industry and is a therapist, has been for a while. That's the other thing. Brad Reedy's podcast, our Evoke Therapy podcast that Brad puts out, is incredible. Incredible. Also, recovering from codependency. There's a codependency podcast that's good. There's a lot of therapy ones that that you can check out too. But if Brad's is wonderful, highly, highly recommend his. So when something that he said to me is, when you are in an interaction with somebody else and if you are anything but compassionate, curious, and not knowing, that is your stuff. Okay, I'm going to say it again because it's super important. If you are anything but compassionate, curious, and not knowing, when you are in an interaction with somebody else, that is your stuff. Or if you're a therapist, it's clinical information. Okay, that's like what we call it. So we have to be able to notice ourselves and our own reaction to other people in order to notice, right? So that's how we pull ourselves out of the blame game, right? If we are not feeling open, if we are not feeling compassionate, and if we are not feeling curious, we need to take a step back, take some time for ourselves, take a step back, and then build our energy up. Right? Because this is how we build our capacity to hold difficult life events and be able to be in relationship with somebody else in a healthy way. Okay, so being able to hold somebody else. Because what happens when we aren't in that, what will happen to us when other people don't have that capacity, is we will feel shamed. We will be given advice. I guess we can put it on ourselves. We will inadvertently shame somebody else. We will give them advice. We will shut down. We will tell them that they shouldn't feel that way. Okay, there's a lot of ways in which we shut down, and we have a hard time showing up for other people. So when you are feeling that way, when you feel like you can't fully show up for somebody else from that place of openness, curiosity, and compassion, pause, take an adult time out, and then come back when you feel you can. Okay? It is absolutely okay to take a timeout, to say, hey, you know what? I'm feeling really full. I don't feel like I'm processing this very well. I just need to pause this, and we need to come back so I can be there for you and you can be there for me. Okay? So when we take care of ourselves through self-care, exercise, essential oils, going to therapy, doing coaching, listening to podcasts, reading books about self-development, we are taking care of ourselves. We are building our capacity. We're increasing our capacity to show up for life in a fuller way. Okay? And who doesn't want that, right? We all are trying to show up in a fuller, healthier way. But when we don't know how to do it, we turn to things like alcohol, other substances, overeating, picking at our face, right? Whatever, over-exercising, whatever it is, because we're trying to show up in a way. We want to experience life fully, but we don't know how to manage how stressful it can be to do that. Okay? So again, let me know where you're watching from if you just came in. Let me know if you have questions about these topics. I'm happy to answer them. Stephanie, favorite self-care rituals? Yes, I have started to love walking. Walking and listening to one of these podcasts. Just taking time out from trying to process stuff all the time. My tendency is to try to process everything all at once and try to have a long conversation about it and try to figure it all out and keep showing up. And my work is to step back. So for me, that works better for me. Also, meditation twice a day is a godsend for me. I mean, that regulates me more than anything else. And then exercise for sure. Cardio really helps. And then my essential oils. So when I'm feeling stressed, I'm turning to balance. Recently, I've been using a lot of jasmine and rose, and the roll-ons are amazing. I use medicinal grade. They're not from the store. They're really pure, safe, powerful essential oils. Wild orange is incredible. Copaiba is a new one from doTERRA that is really helps me with anxiety. 2 drops under the tongue, a couple of drops of frankincense under the tongue. That is really grounding. So if you're feeling stressed, please don't take the ones from the store or Amazon or online internally. They're not safe. The only ones that are safe to take internally are doTERRA, in my professional opinion. And that's the only ones that I would take internally. So if you're using frankincense and copaiba, let me know if you'd like some of those. I can help you get them, but I wouldn't be taking any others because they're not safe. Okay. So that's a short list. I like to make a self-care ritual list, and I try to pick one thing out of each area. Exercise, meditation, or some sort of mindfulness activity, some sort of connection with others as well is really important for me. It's really easy for me to isolate. So if you notice that you're somebody that isolates, try to cultivate more connection with people. Okay. Especially, that's what I'll say about that. So that's mostly what I have. The last thing that I wanted to just talk about is this idea of letting go a little more. I was at Spirit Rock last night, which is thanks, Scott. It's good to see you, my friend. I was at Spirit Rock last night, which is up in Marin in Fairfax in California, north of San Francisco. And it's an incredible meditation retreat center that was opened by Jack Kornfield. And the teacher there last night shared a quote from his teacher, who was an enlightened Thai Buddhist, whose 100th birthday will happen sometime soon, I think. I think he's since left his body, but he shared a quote at the end. And he said, if you want to be a little bit happy, if you want to be a little happy, let go a little bit. If you want to be really happy, let go a lot. If you want to be completely happy and at peace, let go completely. So, my friends, when you're in these places, when you are having a hard time, when you're struggling to connect to your resilience, when you're struggling to connect to your place of joy, of compassion, of understanding. Try to let go a little bit. Try to notice the thoughts that you have and try to see if you can loosen your grip on them by questioning them. Say, is this thought absolutely true? Or is it something, are there other alternatives? Are there other possibilities right now? Okay. If you want to be a little happy, let go a little bit. If you want to be a lot happy, let go a lot. And if you want to be completely happy and at peace, let go completely. Okay. Thank you for being here. I will see you soon. Let me know if you have other questions. I'm going to be coming on live more often. If some of you saw, I recently graduated from my master's degree and I've been working in wilderness therapy. I've been going through a lot of change. So I'll be on more often now that I am more available. Good to be with you. See you soon.